Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're covering a really important topic for our longboarding, and it's all about getting you guys to catch more waves and catch better waves. Over the past week or so, I've been trying to reflect on some of the most important light bulb moments that we've had for a few of the coaching students that we've had. And one of them is definitely how to position yourself for the paddle into waves so that you can get the waves when you need to, and getting more waves for that matter. So trying to negotiate our way out in the lineup properly and effectively in a really good way. So I hope you enjoy the video today, but let's get straight into it. Being able to paddle and catch the best waves is a really important skill as surfers. And apart from this allowing us to have more fun in the water, it's also really important for a lot of other aspects of our surfing development. Alright, so one of the main problems that I usually see for people, especially as they move from the beginner to the intermediate phase, and the problems they have with catching waves, is that when we're in the beginner phase, we often use a long paddle to get into a wave, and this is because we're still learning how to generate speed and momentum properly. But this does lead us into a lot of problems when we are coming through to the intermediate phase, when we want to catch more waves out the back and everything like that, because oftentimes we're not looking at the wave and we're just paddling in without regard for when the wave's going to break. As a result, what I like to focus on is 3 ways of breaking this positioning down to make sure we're in the right spot and catching the best waves. This comes into identify, position, and then paddle. More specifically, early identification of the wave before it gets to line up. Positioning, so getting ourselves in place without actually paddling for the wave yet, and then we swing and paddle. So what I'm going to try and do out there today is really try and implement this early identification, position, and then paddle process, taking you through exactly how it looks and what I'm looking for out of the lineup as well. So, just made it out the back. There's some good little waves out here actually. It's about 2-3 foot, nice and clean. Got a peak all to myself. So I'm kind of stoked to see what we can get. So I found my position in the lineup. So now we sit and wait. What we can see, got a wave coming over here towards me. I won't catch this one, but I'm just always scanning the horizon, and we're really taking a nice active approach to ourselves in the lineup, even if we're sitting still, looking left, looking right, and seeing where the best peaks are, because I actually want to hunt those waves down. I don't just want to sit and wait for the waves to come to me. I want to make sure that I'm constantly scanning, looking at the waves 50, 100 meters before they get to us, so that we know which waves are coming, so that I can position myself correctly. Preparing early, with early identification of the waves you want and where you need to be before the wave reaches the lineup, puts us in a great place to provide us with enough time, not just to paddle for the wave, but paddle ourselves into the best position possible, underneath the peak of the wave, which will be the second part of this process. So for positioning, a few different things we need to consider. As we spoke about on the beach before, it is a really common thing coming from the beginner stages through the intermediate, where in the beginner stages we get told turn around early and paddle as hard as you can. This is because we're getting accustomed to paddling for the wave and generating enough speed for the paddle. When we translate this into our catching unbroken waves and trying to sit out the back in the lineup, this actually can become a bit of a hindrance and a difficulty, because we're not watching the wave for how it's going to break, where it's going to break, and where our position is with respect to the peak of the wave where we need to be. To solve for this, we're actually not going to turn our board around early. We're going to be facing the wave, and as we identify the wave early, this allows us to start paddling into position. Once we've seen the wave and where we think it's going to break, we need to make sure that we're paddling out and towards the wave. So this is really important because we can actually position ourselves underneath the peak. A good strategy for this as well is sitting a little bit inside. If we know we're going to paddle out towards the waves, sitting all the way out the back, exactly further out than where the waves are breaking, isn't necessarily going to help us because we're going to be out too far already to go and meet the wave. So we want to meet the wave by sitting in a little bit further than you usually would, and then being able to identify the wave early and paddle out to meet it. That's going to be a great way to make sure we're not too far out, which is another problem that a lot of beginner to intermediate surfers have. And then we're going to be able to make sure we can position ourselves correctly as well. So early identification, and then we're going to utilize this to position ourselves effectively by paddling to meet the wave. Let's hunt those waves out. Now it's time to catch the wave. Now, if we're catching the wave and we're really good at this, we actually don't need a long paddle time to get into this. By opening ourselves up and facing the wave as we're positioning ourselves, paddling towards it, we can actually see exactly what the wave is doing, getting a lot of good sensory feedback as to how the wave is changing as it's approaching the lineup and where the wave is ultimately going to break. Again, if we're paddling for the wave really early and we're just aiming straight towards the beach, there's a lot of changes about how that wave is forming and where we need to be that might be changing. So this solves a lot of problems there. Once we've gotten the position aspect of this really good, then the paddle in should be a lot easier. So we've paddled into the part of the peak where it's going to be breaking. What we need to do then is I like to do a quick turnaround. So being able to move our longboard around really quickly and effectively like this. Got to be a really important part of what we need to do on our longboard, and it doesn't come easy at the start. It's a little bit of a pat your head and rub your belly situation, coordination with how the legs spin and how the legs move. If you guys want me to show you how to do something like that, maybe let me know. But it is going to be a really important part of your longboarding, being able to turn around effectively so that you can then go to catch the waves as you need to. But let's go surfing. To bring it all together, the key takeaways are to assess the waves coming well before they're close, looking for where the peak is and making a good estimate of where the wave will break so you know where you need to be. We can then meet the wave halfway, paddling out and across to the peak, not simply just letting the wave come to us. We keep assessing the wave as we paddle towards it to change our position accordingly, whether that be paddling further across or further out. Once the wave is close and we've positioned optimally underneath the peak, we do a quick turnaround and paddle to take off on the wave. The positioning by paddling to meet the wave and being underneath the peak, when done correctly, should make the paddle in a lot easier. But it goes without saying that a good paddle technique and efficiency is crucial to doing this well.